What's up guys, welcome back to Bikes and Bullets MTB TV. Bit of a different one for you today, as you can see from the motorcycle that is sitting right in front of me. It is not my Honda VTR. This is all new for 2024 KTM Duke 390, but before we get into that, let's roll the intro. Alright, welcome back. Now this is not a motorcycle review, this is just a first ride. A good mate of mine, Jono, kindly donated his brand new 2024 KTM Duke 390 to me for my benefit in the pursuit of content for this YouTube channel. So I'll give a little bit of information about the bike, but yeah, like I said, it's not a review, it's just a first ride. I'll give you some specs. It's an all new engine for 2024, all new frame and an all new look, I guess. It's got this killer looking front end, it looks so mean. So it's a single cylinder 4-stroke engine, and the displacement on this bike is actually 398.7 cc, whereas the previous models were only 373.27 cc. So the older models weren't even a 390, they were a 370, and this newer model for 2024 is closer to a 400 cc. So that in itself is pretty cool. So they call it a 390, but it may as well be called a 400. They've also used a whole new frame from what I understand, and they've moved to a side mounted suspension setup, rear suspension setup, going straight to the swing arm there. And what they also did, what was quite interesting, is the brake rotors used to be on the left hand side of the bike, but because they put this all new suspension setup on the right side, they decided to switch the brake system over to the right side of the bike, so the entire right side of the bike looks insane. In terms of power on this bike, this bike's putting out 33 kilowatts at 8500 RPM and 39 newton meters of torque at 7500 RPM. And what's also crazy about this bike in particular, for a small displacement CC bike, it has different rider modes like track mode, motard mode, street mode, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's more than what you get when you're purchasing, you know, the other smaller bikes like the Ninja 300. And as I mentioned, it's a whole new suspension setup with WP Apex rear shock, which is adjustable, and the WP Apex front forks, which are also adjustable. So fully adjustable suspension, different rider mode, ABS brakes, and it even has launch control, which is pretty nuts. And I'll go through the display setup on the bike shortly. And it has a standard seat height of 820 millimeters tall. Now that's about as much research as I have done on this particular bike, but I think what we should do is we should jump on this thing and go for a little ride. It's pretty quiet. Everything's completely stock on this bike except for the mirrors, which I just installed. Stock standard exhaust. But it's so light, like it's insane how light this bike is. So like I said, 398 cc, but essentially it's a 400. For a learner bike, a learner approved bike, it is got more than enough power. There's something to be said about the type of fun you can have on small displacement motorcycles. You know, you'll get the people out there who are like, oh, if it's not a 600 or if it's not 1000, you know, it's not cool. Man, I don't care what you ride, as long as you ride and have fun. I've owned CBR 1000s, a couple of Gixxer 600s, you know, I've had a Yamaha FZ8, a Triumph Street Triple 675R, and don't get me wrong, they were all fun bikes, but like, if you have been watching my channel, you know, I currently own a 1999 Honda VTR 250, and it's fun. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you can only do here in Queensland legally 110 k's an hour, and that is only on a couple of highways that you can actually do that. So is it really worth trying to look cool because you ride a 1000cc bike or whatever, doing silly stuff to lose your license, getting caught speeding or whatever, doing stuff when, you know, you can have just as much fun on these small displacement bikes? And I get it, I'm roughly 175 centimeters tall, so maybe, you know, this bike isn't ideal for someone who's 6 foot, and you might need to buy a bigger displacement bike for you to fit comfortably on it. But you know, if you're like me and you're not the tallest bloke in the world, like, this bike is fine. And I mean, this has got more than enough torque for you to have some fun around twisties or whatever. And I mean, this thing is so nimble and so light, it is hard not to have fun on it. This thing is sick. It's just so light, so maneuverable. I have a sneaking suspicion on my VTR 250 that I'm currently building into a cafe racer. If you haven't checked out the series, I have a playlist on the build. I think the previous owner lowered it. This KTM Duke sits at a perfect ride height. The seating position is super comfortable. Obviously, it's an upright seating position, and a lot of these learner approved motorcycles, you know, even the full fairing ones like the Ninja 300 and the Ninja 400 are still designed to be seated quite upright. But you know, I am a big fan of naked bikes. The last naked bike I had was a Yamaha 2011 Yamaha FZ8. The bike I had before that was a 2009 Triumph Street Triple R, which is also a naked bike. So I'm a big fan. Just way more comfortable to ride than a full fairing bike. But don't get me wrong, I'm still a big fan of full fairing bikes also. Once again, shout out to Jono for lending me his bike for this first ride video. Very much appreciated. But I think we need to pull up somewhere and get some footage of the bike itself, just to show you just how good this thing looks. Alright, so that was just a few shots of, you know, what the bike actually looks like. If the quality's changed, I've just switched over to the iPhone camera just for this section of the video. For a learner approved bike, when we look at the dash, like, look how sick that looks. It's currently on street mode. It lets you know when the side stand is down. You've got your controls here for the dash. I'm not entirely sure how it works. There we go. So we can change, you know, we can choose ride mode. So this one, you can mess around with the ABS. I'm not entirely sure what MTC is. I'm sure someone can tell me in the comments. Like I said, this is not a, you know, in-depth review. So we can change from street mode to track mode to rain mode, which is pretty cool. I'm going to assume that's a whole bunch of safety options. Street mode, track mode. I was just riding it in street mode. I think I might put it into track. What else do we got? Bike info, your trip meter, normal settings button. You get a lap timer. Like, that's awesome, man. You don't get that on most learner approved bikes. For anyone who's watching this video and you're not from Australia, here in Australia, well, at least in the state that I live in, we have what are called LAMS bikes, LAM, learner approved motorcycle. So in Queensland where I live, you have to do a thing called Q-Ride, where you get your RE license the first time you do Q-Ride, which is restricted engine, which is like these. And then you have to do Q-Ride again to get your Rs, which is your open motorcycle license, which allows you to ride bigger CC engine bikes like 600s and 1000s. So I don't really know what else to say about this bike. It did come with some, you know, big mirrors, but I had a spare set of mirrors at home, bar end mirrors, which I donated to for letting me borrow his bike and do this first ride video. I think he has ordered himself directly from KTM a fender eliminator kit, and he's also ordered a aftermarket exhaust because this is still stock. That's roughly all I really have. We'll get a few more clips on the GoPro of riding this thing around. I want to see what this bike is like in track mode. I just rode it from his house to my house in street mode, so I want to test it out and see what track mode is like. But yeah, it's an awesome bike. It's probably the meanest, the best looking Lambs bike, learner approved bike you can get on the market. Yeah, take it for a strap in track mode. I guess I can offer some insight from the perspective of a person with an open motorcycle license, meaning, you know, someone who isn't restricted to just small displacement bikes, and I'm licensed to ride, you know, bigger bikes. I guess I can offer some insight to newer riders. If you're watching this video and you're thinking about getting your motorcycle license and you want to know if this bike is, you know, worth getting, I mean, look, if you can afford, you know, I always encourage new riders to just buy something cheap to learn on and then upgrade after that. But I mean, if you've got the money to spend on a brand new bike, I'm not sure how much the retail price of this bike is brand new, but I will chuck it up on the screen here right now. If you've got that money to spend, then I guess by all means go ahead and do that. But having said that, like I said earlier, you know, 1000cc bikes are fun, 600cc bikes are fun, but so's this. Even though this thing sounds like a fart in an empty Milo tin right now with the standard exhaust, I mean, it's super fun. I'm having so much fun riding this bike, and I think I would have to say I have ridden the Ninja 400. My wife had I think it was like a 2008 Ninja 250, which I also rode. I have to say, out of all the Lambs approved bikes of this size motor, this is probably the best one on the market. You know, we're excluding obviously the larger CC learner approved bikes like the Yamaha MT-07, or I think it's called in America the FZ-07. Out of the, you know, sub 500cc category of learner approved motorcycles, I would have to say bang for buck, and for what you get, like with this display and being able to have different ride modes like street and track and rain. This thing's got ABS, adjustable suspension, all the stuff like that. I mean, it's got all the bells and whistles. This has more features on it than any other motorcycle I've ever owned, and like I said, I've had CBR 1000s, Gixxers, Triumphs, Yamahas, you name it. This thing, bang for buck, you get a lot of stuff for your money, including, I believe, Michelin power tires. So, and these tires feel great. Just quickly, guys, I don't have many subscribers, but if you could do me a favor, and if you like this video, click the subscribe button. If you're a first time watcher on this channel, hence the name Bikes and Bullets, you'll find most things motorcycle related. It's mostly mountain biking content. If you look at my YouTube shorts, there's quite a bit of firearms content. I have a goal to sort of hit 1,000 subscribers, and if you like what you see, please feel free to give me a subscribe and like the video. If you like this content of me riding these bikes and letting you know what my thoughts are about them, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see if I can persuade more of my friends to lend me their bike for half a day so I can make a YouTube video. Man, this thing is so smooth through the rev range. Perfect amount of torque for this size engine and the weight of this bike. Oh man, second gear, just pull in the clutch, the front wheel just pops up. That's so cool.